project we've been doing is called Information, Outformation. And we'd like you to watch this in the lights.
So our university is an ornithology university. So we're using the existing version of PARC and infiltrating with Android ducts. And these migrate with birds, so it's kind of like a transit university around the globe. So when they come to St. James Park in the English summer, that's when term starts. So you enroll when the ducks come back to St. James Park and graduate when they.
I think you've made a real contribution to David's lexicon. You've got duck club. and what I enjoyed about you as a group and your movie and just watching the body language of you guys is that I have the sense that you communicated a lot between you in a very short time, very comfortable with interface. That's intriguing. You know, I guess a sniff of that, the liveliness of the observation. I think the scheme, for me, is more interesting in the fact that you've been observing the park and you found something there. It wasn't so much to do with the program, but you found something there that had a dynamic, and you're then grafting overtones of this program, whatever it is, onto that dynamic. But what's really important, I think, is that you chatted amongst yourselves. You decided on a medium of communication. You kept it fairly simple. You got the duck thrown in, and these hides. Now, because the only problem is in St. James Park, you can't really hide. You've got hide like you might have it in the north of Scotland. Not in St. James's Park, for tourists. Doesn't matter. It raises then the issue of to what extent you use what's there, the dynamic of what's there, and the possibilities, either using this as a metaphor. It's not actually the duck. It's not actually they wear cybernetic rings around their legs. It's the fact that there is this congregation, this happening, this flocking. And there's also flocking, let's face it, of tourists and other, whoever the hell they are in St. James Park. And that, as a piece of observation, is something which I think you should run with, or somebody should run with for quite a long time. But then the question is, if you introduce the artificial, and this is really central, old Archigram concept, if you introduce the artificial, which is a kind of mimic of the real, in order to accentuate the value of the real, there's no point in having robots unless they're useful. There's no point in having duck bots or duck bugs, unless, you know, that. But to what extent it is useful for them to be mimics, and to what extent it is useful for them not to be. And I think that's very, to me, still a big puzzle. If the robot identifies itself as a quasi-person, does it have greater confluence with the person on? If the duck bot offers itself to the real duck, does the real duck say, "Fuck off, I don't know"? Or does it amuse the part with the observer, who is the human, saying, "Ah, duck bot must be something to do with ducks, and it's back to the frozen food again, to some extent, this all is to do, it is to do with communication, it is to do with blocking, and making more of a situation than it is. I think that it's very useful to observe the park. The park does have things which we don't fully understand there is a difference between going there rather than going to a party, or going there rather than going to the theatre, because in the theatre there are certain rules of how you behave. Even in parties there are certain rules of very clear. A party is nowadays, I think, a weird one. It's neither an institution nor is it really freeform. And therein, I think, is the genius of the project, in the sense, because it's not just general purpose countryside, let's see what we can do to cybernetics or education. It's a genius park. It's a very particular place where Will might choose to go to rather excellent restaurants. Somebody else might choose to go looking for the ICA. Somebody else might choose to go there to pick something up. I mean, there are a number of layers by which people use it. And that is worth endless study.
I quite like the idea that you narrowed it down to a particular subject. And in this case, ornithology. It's quite difficult to say. And I think that's quite good. There are, I don't know how many ornithologists there are, but I suspect there's quite a few.
Many ornithologists.
Well, all I know.
What university
In Holland?
In where?
Holland.
in the whole of England?
No, in Holland, yeah. In the whole of England.
You're saying there's only one program from which but bird watching.
But they have to do something in Holland.
Bird watching has, I'm sorry, not to fall on the top of it. But bird watching in Britain is a very long history, that 16th century. So it's a very local and also global topic, which relates as well to the way in which people talk right now about digital design, swarming. I don't know. But so there's the flock and the swarm. It's less about individuality and more about communication of information, which I think if you had said something about it would have made the project richer a little bit, because just looking at kind of individual ducks, what you get, how many birds you really get in St. James Park, and how many birds come into central London to eat the rubbish. There's the very specific kinds of animals that come to City Park.
Well, I suspect that the birds in St. James Park, apart from Canadian geese, which are flying birds, I don't think they go anywhere, do they? There's no extent they're always there. I recognise them. Well, I do know, because I go to Norfolk quite a lot, and I like it. And if I'm getting up and shaving in the morning, and you listen to the local radio, because there's lots of those twitches, and before you know it, they'll come up with the bird watching report, and they'll report on some extraordinary rarity that's just been spied on the Martian side. If you then drive along that part of the coast, you can't move for these people, and they come from miles away. It's hardly local. They'll drive 200 or 300 miles to see this thing.
Local in the sense of being
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay. But I just wonder what would happen if you actually just invented a new breed of bird that hadn't been seen in St. James Park. That would get the challenge.
ivory-billed woodpecker.